of business. All right, so we've got an interesting character here, all the way from Africa, Nigeria, yeah? It's Mr. Anthony Nnaji. He goes by the artistic name of Pinko, is a prolific art talent. He's going to introduce himself. Anthony is a film director, a film actor, director, scriptwriter, and a futurist writer who is open to opportunities from any part of the world. He's associated with TAFs, the Transdisciplinary Agora from Future Discussions. Anthony holds his reputation as the best director at the Catholic Theatre of Cultural Trope Drama and Dance Competition of 2018. Anthony had his certificate in theatre from film arts at the prestigious University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria, and is furthering his filmmaking career at the prestigious National Film Institute of Jos in Nigeria. His talent has overwhelmed viewers of many parts of Nigeria, and so he's tagged the fastest growing young actor and director in Nigeria. Currently, Anthony is the media director at the so TAFs. He is the media director at TAFs. Lovely to have you on board, TAFs. So big fan of TAFs here at Detonation. They're doing great work there. How did you get involved with TAFs? And welcome.
All right, thank you so much. Actually, the president of TAPS, Mr. Osnakachi Akumakalu, he has witnessed me perform in several occasions, and he saw the creativity and the zeal to be able to communicate to the society at large through visual arts. So he told me that he cannot let such a talent go. So he decided to bring me in where he can actually give me the opportunity to communicate with the international bodies at large.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. Mr. Sinikachi is an interesting fellow. He came on here to do a panel about fearism. Fearism is an interesting concept. Are you familiar with fearism?
Of course.
And what do you think about fearism?
Actually, fearism, like he always say, is a state of one's being. The state of one's being where the beast conquers one internal emotions, like you always tell me, and the ability to fight off the beast, the ability to conquer the beast itself is fearism.
Cool. And what draws you to the art world? I also have an Art Sundays guy. He's John. He's from Burma. He's an interesting fellow, and he's into art. He does a lot of the Art Sunday art news with us, and we talk about the multi-million-dollar contracts of art that are floating around the world. You like art. Why do you like art?
Actually, I found that I was born doing art. Some people were born with talents, and there are those people who were born with talent. I think I am one of them, or should I say, I'm the first of them, if I should over-exaggerate it. But I think I was born doing art. I just found myself doing it, and I love doing it.
Good. And the artistic talent that draws you is filmmaking. And what is it about this audio-visual appearance of a continuous stream of pictures that draws your eye? What makes it interesting? Why is it something that grabs your attention?
See, I love everything that is aesthetic, everything that is aesthetic, everything that is outside the usual, anything that is creative. I just love to see it. So with that, I think when I even see any drawing, whether be it abstract or nature, I derive inspirations from there, and so doing, I just want to write a story patterning it, and so that I can be able to communicate to the world. Everything draws my attention. Everything that is beautiful.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, and I like that a lot. Aesthetic appeal It's very interesting. Film is quite old now. It's quite an old technology. You can go and watch silent films, way back when, almost in the 1930s and earlier. You could, and there's footage going almost back to the beginning of last century, if not. The camera is a fairly old invention now. Films are very interesting. Sound component. We've recently got color, and it's quite vibrant now. And we're moving into, virtual worlds where films are becoming more and more interactive all the time. There's an exciting era in film. Films are proliferating. There's lots and lots of different films now. So what part of filmmaking is your greatest strength? I mean, if you enjoy films, you must be good at making films. And so, what's your greatest strength?
Is it my greatest strength? I think comes from people's opinion. Actually, if you see me act, you actually want me to remain an actor, and those people who also have seen me direct films, they also encourage me to be director. So I believe that my greatest strength so far lies on acting and directing. But overall, I'm a good storyteller.
We had Kate Lochuk on, and she was talking about AI directed advertising because she did a panel on AI directed advertising. Have you seen that, the car ad, where the AI wrote and scripted the car advert?
Pardon?
Have you seen the car advert that the AI wrote and scripted and directed?
No, 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 I've not seen that.
It's very interesting. It's something you should look up. That's so. What they did was
Okay.
they fed the AI they fed the AI with a whole lot of information, and it wrote and scripted and directed essentially a car advert to sell cars, and it was an emotional advert, very touching advert. But yeah, AI is starting to write its own adverts now and script. It's very interesting stuff. So you got some competition there with the robots, but for now the humans still in charge. And in Africa, I'm sure that the market is still fairly open for innovations in the film sector, right? I mean, it's fairly new. You haven't got that much bigger industry there yet, have you?
Yes, we do.
Where is the big filming industry in Africa? I mean, South Africa, Egypt. I know the Middle East makes a lot of films. Where in Africa is the most filming going on and this new film industry? Where is it really booming? Where's Boomtown?
I think it's booming in Nigeria here, in Nollywood.
What do you call it?
Nollywood, Nigeria.
Nollywood. Nollywood. Cool. Tell me about Nollywood.
Okay, actually, Nollywood industry, you have them producing up to 5,000 films a week. There are different independent film producers, film directors. So the competition here in Nigeria is very tough when it comes to filmmaking.
Very cool. Nollywood's the place to be, hey? All right, I got to remember that. Nollywood. Look it up. So how did you come... So how did you come into the transdisciplinary Agora for future discussions, TAFs? How did you come to be involved with that? Sinakachi obviously coaxed you in. He's a smart guy. But is there another reason that you joined TAFs?
Yes, actually, when he talked about tax, I found out that I'm kind of interested in it because I actually want to let the world know about the artificial intelligence and transhumanism that they preach that they want to bring into Africa. So because of that, I found out that hosting conferences and writing of books will not just suffice. So what if we do it in the aspect of filmmaking? Why don't we produce films in text that connects with artificial intelligence and transhumanism and so fearism to say too. So I think he bought the idea. So right now, the Taft media department is planning on making a film concerning a sci-fi film per se concerning artificial intelligence and transhumanism in order to preach to Africa, because Africa, I think Africans are difficult to convince, and Africans per se too do not read a lot of books. So and they don't also go for conferences. So the only thing they actually admire and they welcome is film. So why don't we preach to the world or to Africans at large using film media
So
to artificial
African
intelligence and
African the
that.
African the African mind is convinced through film. You're saying.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. They love anything that is.
this is a good medium in order to to preach about AI, to speak about scientific developments, how to improve Nigeria. You have to do it through film. This is how they consume information. You can't write another book. You can't do it through journals. You can't do it through some sort of educational phenomena. You've got to teach the masses via this mechanism, this talking mechanism, this communication mechanism of film.
Yes, yes,
And you're a film guy, so it just happens to work, right?
yes, yes,
That's good. I like that. So Sinakauchi's got you in there to get TAFs into films.
yes.
Great. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, you obviously are a smart person. Sinakauchi's a smart person. The TAFs is smart. So you go to conferences and you go to universities and all this is what you do this sort of stuff, right?
Yes, of course.
And, and you get excited by what you're learning, right?
Of course, at least it opens me to new opportunities and uh, growth too, growth
And
and
you
development.
and you can see,
The more I'm working,
yeah, and you can see
yeah,
how marginal changes in your society can massively make massive improvements and massive changes in a positive direction for your society, yeah?
of course, of course.
And you're trying to communicate that to the people, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, that's where I come in because it also opens me to more research and growth and development too. Because the more I want to communicate to people, I look for other media to see how I can actually do something out of the ordinary, something they've been seeing, something the society at large in Africa have been seeing. So we try as much as we can to leave that comfort zone to get
Very
something
good
done
work.
out of us.
Very good work, and I implore you and your mission and what you're doing, and I encourage you to keep up the good work. If that is what you're up to, in order to stimulate this discussion, to give it to the people there, that there is opportunities. That's fantastic, and keep that up. You got encouragement here from Detonation. Because there are huge opportunities in countries such as Nigeria. Africa is a great untapped resource in general, the continent. Excluding probably South Africa at the moment and maybe Egypt. But the rest, there's certainly developed places, but they're oil rich. Nigeria is one of these gold mine countries. A lot of money in Nigeria. It's just not evenly spread.
Yes, yes.
Do you think that there's enough money in the pool to implement some of these technological changes?
Nigeria has every finance it needs to undertake or embark on any technology or technological challenges they want to. It's just that what we suffer from is I don't know how to put it, but we suffer a lot here in terms of governance. In terms of governance.
Yeah, there's political inefficiencies.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's systemic political inefficiencies, and they can be adjusted and they can be changed, but it's going to instead of it's kind of like in America where you have the trickle down economy where they all say it's all trickle down. Kind of doesn't work like that. You have to have a trickle up economy, and you have to build from the base. And in order to do that, you sort of have to educate the people. You have to tell them that a better life and a better vision is possible for everybody, and that they can access this by educating themselves on different technologies. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What is your view about the transdisciplinary Agora for future discussions impact on the African soil?
Actually, my view is we are looking for a platform, and we believe that Africa is that platform that we can actually grow with, because we find out that we cannot take it to America. America is already developed. British is already, I mean, Britain is already developed, and so is Australia too. So Africa is a place where we are still backward when it comes to technology, and the TAFs is a company that is based on bringing technological development and growth. And we find that Africa actually needs such. So our major aim is going to be to bring in Africa to limelight, and afterwards we can check elsewhere.
I'd love to attend one of these conferences. I know Tom Ross came out from with his US6 series. He came out. It was a it worked in the end. They got there in the end. There was some activity. It wasn't exactly as planned, but it got there in the end. And you're going to have future conferences as well. But what do you think about someone like Tom Ross?
John Ross is being an inspiration. John Ross is being an inspiration. I think we've been in constant communication for the past 2 weeks now, and I think the kind of the kind of works he gives to me, the kind of duties he gives to me, opens my mind for growth and development. Whenever he says something and he's like, Anthony, what do you think about this? How can we get this done? And it opens me for research. Even though I've never heard of that before, but I go, I go as fast as I can to make researches on it so that I can be able to give him an answer. And Ross helps you to grow without taking no as an answer. When you give him no as an answer, man, come on, that's failure on your own part. So I don't want to be a failure, so I quickly go as fast as I can to make researches, and that helps my intellect.
That's great
So
to
it's been
hear. And
fun.
Tom Ross has a good policy there of being against human slavery. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that idea of being against human slavery as one of the core elements of US6 series?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, human slavery is bad. It's not good. It's barbaric and old fashioned. And I think he's doing a good project there with trying to wipe out human slavery because there is still human slavery in the world. People are shocked at it sometimes. Sometimes they don't want to talk about it, but it goes on and it happens. And it would be good if it could be eliminated.
of course, of course.
So, how would the Taft's media convince the world of AI?
Uh, like I told you, we're starting with Africa, and whatever I believe that whatever Africa believes in, if a continent as poor and backward as Africa believes in it, then it won't be difficult for US, the already developed countries, to believe in it. So that's why we are actually coming into Africa to set that platform, and convincing them using AI. I think we are going to do that. Since we do not like books, journals, and magazines, we can do that through uh, film media.
Very
We can
cool.
convince them. Yeah, there are some sci-fi films the Africans have seen, and I think with their reaction, we believe that they appreciate it. So they appreciate these films, and so why don't we uh, come into the picture using film to advertise to them, since they actually appreciate these films.
And you don't have a wrong thesis there. China's building the world's biggest, China Wood or whatever it is, biggest media studio in the world. Hollywood is global culture. There's Bollywood in India and Nollywood in Nigeria. Film, is an absolute core of how people communicate. And when you take over film, you can augment people's imaginations and how they, it's the new book. It's the new book that everybody consumes all at once. So, you're not wrong. You're totally right. You're totally on the right track. And if you can implement some of these messages into the Nollywood theme, you'll be off to a roaring start for TAFS. TAFS is a young organization, a young corporation, a young idea. And, you have a lot of growth there and innovation to come. But talking about film is a great start. I mean, it's a great start for a great message. And we talk here on this show a lot about Africa skipping certain development paths, out of the Industrial Revolution. You don't want to go on the big dirty industrialization path that China and India have undergone. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's bad for the planet. It ruins you. It ruins us. It ruins everybody in the process. It ruins the earth environment. When you could skip all of that and you can go straight to the next stage, and that would be where we want you to go. This not quite Wakanda straight away, but closer to Wakanda than China. It's this sort of dirty China notion, because you don't want to take that path. Unfortunately, it looks like economics is lined up for that. But if TAFs can do something about it, and if you can do something about it, and if your politicians can wake up and do something about it, then you might be able to just achieve something.
Of course, of course. What we just need is the go ahead. We just need someone to sign the go ahead, and we're all for grabs.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And all the best to you and in your mission there in Nigeria, impacting Nollywood, working with TAFs, working with Tom Ross. Is there anybody I've missed? Eric Klein?
I think you also have to give thumbs up to Dr. Sarita Sharma and Dino Dolphin, Dr. Nora. Also, I think these people have been impactful, and Alexandro Solomon. I think they've been actually impactful on my side to grow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I've got to become more familiar with the executive of TAFs. But yeah, Dr. Delphine is an interesting person. Yeah, she wants the same thing: is to skip that development curve. All right, looks like we lost him, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, that was a very interesting talk. That was a very interesting discussion. TAFs is a very interesting organization. So check it out. He's film. It's film, ladies and gentlemen. And film is the new books. It's the new communication method. And if we can get him on Netflix, we could have a great experience there. Nigeria is one of. Oh, you blocked out for a second.
Nigeria is one of. Blocked out for a second there.
All right, you're back.
Hello.
Back.
Yes, I'm back.
All right, we'll wrap up. But have you got any closing statements?
Okay, my closing statement goes to other young filmmakers. I'd like them to actually come and partner with TAFs, because it's actually going to be a wonderful thing if we can embrace this world of AI and transhumanism, to see how we can make Africa also stand out, so that when people are talking about the world's growing, or the world's already grown continents, we can mention Africa. We make continents in the world. And I don't know how I can achieve that, but I believe that with maximum cooperations from people and the kind of platform that TAPS have set for me is going to be achieved, God willing.
All right. Well, yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
we wish you the best in your adventure, and thank you very much for coming on Detonation, and you're invited back. And TAPS is an organization that we got to keep our eye on, and I encourage people to go there and have a look at what they're doing there. And you keep up your filmmaking because that's incredibly important. And if you can get into Nollywood, I want to see you on the silver screen, the big screen, as soon as I can. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much for joining us here on Detonation. So I'll thank you very much. I'll just talk to them at the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's I just the connection's a little bit poor, but I want to just talk about Africa for a second. Let's just talk about Africa for a second because it's one of these countries that you want to help skip their development curve. Okay, Nigeria is a massive country. I mean, it's a massive country. I mean, the population is simply massive. Ethiopia is another massive country, and if we have to encourage young people like Anthony, okay, and we have to encourage young people like Anthony to do what they're doing. Why? Because if they can get the message out there that they don't have to undergo these dirty development phases, that they can take important technologies and important technological revolutions from the West and take them out and implement them into social and political policy in their countries, then they can skip this. Okay? That's better for the environment, it's better for social welfare, it's better for humans, it's better for politics in the region. It'll de-stress the region. These regions are incredibly stressed already. They're environmentally stressed. They've got religious tensions. They've got post-colonial tensions. They've got resource tensions. They've got new issues with colonialism, whether that's from competition between great powers like China and the United States, or old European corporations that are popping their heads up, sometimes even Middle East if you're going up further enough. They've got problems with resources. These big multinationals that on one hand are exploitative, and on the other hand they don't all contribute. And then you've got welfare problems from state welfare, where they take aid money and they become corrupt. Africa's got a lot of problems. So we have to assist people like Anthony, and we have to assist TAFs and other organizations like this in order to start thinking how to educate the populations that are there on the ground now in order to enhance their health span, their lifespan, and their ability to sort of live better, healthier lives in their own regional areas. Okay, and this is really important because they want to develop. They don't want to have to always pick up and move around the planet, and it stresses other countries as well. I mean, look at, if you want Trump, if you want a worse Trump, I mean, build the wall. Why do you think Trump is building a giant wall? Because they're expecting countries not to develop, not to go on these development curves, and therefore masses of immigrants or economic or political or war refugees or whatever to flee up into the United States. And they're building a giant wall because they're saying they don't want those people to flood the country, okay? So if you don't encourage young people like Anthony to get the message out there that these countries can develop, they can decorrupt, they can get on blockchain systems, blockchain i-voting, blockchain e-governance systems that enable them to become better, then you're missing the point, okay? So that's what we want from these countries. We do want them to develop. We do want the people to have better lives in the regions that they're in. and it'll de-stress the world. Okay, and these people know their local regions. They know their local environments. They know their environmental issues. They know the issues. It's harder for us in other countries to look down and say, oh, you know, you people over there, this is what you should be doing. These people also have scientists. They also have, environmental agencies, environmental policies, social policies, and others. They just need assistance in order and if you look at statistically, everything's improving globally. It's all improving. Okay, it's just there's an education deficit, and with the African people that I've talked to, especially from Nigeria, it's education. It's an education deficit. That's what's going on. And young Anthony here, he's saying he can achieve the education deficit through film. So, you know, encourage people like young Anthony, encourage Nollywood to promote a powerful message to those people. All right, thanks everybody for watching Detonation. Thank you, Anthony, for coming on. It's been great, and that's it for Detonation, and we'll see you very soon as we're putting death out of business.